This one is probably the most important one that I'm going to be doing out of this entire list, and that is, are you pregnant with baby number 2? Then this video is for you. Hey everyone, it's Courtney. I am currently 21 weeks pregnant with my second child, and I wanted to put together a list of things that I'm doing differently with baby number 2. In a previous video, I shared with you what I'm doing differently this second pregnancy, so I thought it would be a good idea to share what I'm also doing differently with my second baby. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm doing differently with baby number 2 is we're gonna have a name picked out before she's born. I am having a little girl. I have a 17-month-old daughter. We actually didn't pick out her name till probably 3 or 4 hours before she was born. We just couldn't decide on a name, to be honest with you. So this time we actually have a name narrowed down, and I'm super excited because I'm gonna get everything monogrammed this time, get like a little sign when she's born. We are gonna wait and announce the name when she's born, but yeah, we have a name picked out, so that's something different that we're doing. The second thing is we are going to be doing maternity / newborn photos. So with my first pregnancy, I just didn't see the need in spending that much money on photo shoots. We were living out of state, and my sister-in-law normally does our family photos, and she does an amazing job, so I just couldn't bear the thought of anyone else doing them. So this time around, thankfully, we're gonna be able to get them done by her over Christmas. So I will be around 36 or 37 weeks, so it'll be really fun because we have our daughter now. So I just think doing like a family maternity photo shoot will be really cute. And same with newborn photos. We did take some with our daughter. We didn't get them professionally done, and they turned out amazing. But this time I really want to do like the lifestyle kind of shoot with my husband and my daughter and everything like that. And luckily we have my parents staying with us, so they're gonna be able to take pictures for us. So the third thing is we're gonna work around my 17-month-old daughter, her schedule. When this baby's born in January, she's gonna be almost 2 years old. She'll be 2 that April. So I'm not sure what her schedule is gonna look like. It changes all the time, but I do wanna make it a point to just keep with her schedule, keep with her routine. There's a lot of change that's gonna just come from having a second baby around. And a newborn, they're pretty simple to take care of. I mean, they eat, sleep, pee, and poop, and it's just kind of like a cycle of that. So I just really want to make it a point, keep with my daughter's routine and just kind of fit the newborn into that. And yeah, that's something I'm going to be doing differently. The fourth thing that I'm going to be doing differently is I'm going to make sure that I'm not super quiet all the time. What I mean by that is I think when you have a newborn, and especially if it's your first and you don't have anyone around other than that baby, it's really easy to just be silent when they're sleeping, and there's just not a lot of noise going on around them. And my daughter specifically, she could wake up at the sound of anything, so we had to be super quiet. I mean, to this day, we still have to have like the sound machine going as well as a lullaby machine, and we still have to like tiptoe around. And we've tried to be noisy around her, and it just wakes her up every time. So this time around, we're just gonna make it a point to not be quiet, quote unquote quiet, around this newborn. Again, I think that's gonna be kind of hard with the toddler running around anyways. So that's something we're gonna just try and implement into the schedule from the get-go. The next thing I'm going to be doing differently is I'm going to try and sleep train / sleep routine this baby. So after my daughter was born, around 3 months, we actually ended up selling all of our stuff, sold our house, bought an RV, and we traveled for a year. So my daughter didn't really have a routine. She didn't really have like, you know, she had a set kind of bedtime, usually around the same time we put her to bed. Naps, we didn't have a schedule at all. It depends on if we were driving that day, if we were sightseeing. It just really depends. And I still want to be lenient. I definitely want to be lenient in like the nap time area, but it was really hard when it came to sleep training her like at nighttime. We thought she should be sleeping through the night at a certain point, and she probably could have, but since we were in such a small space, it was very difficult to do that. It was just easier to get up and soothe her and nurse her and put her back to sleep. And we ended up not sleep training her until she was a little over a year old. The next thing I'm going to be doing differently is I'm going to actually have a bassinet by our bed. We have a really tall bed, and when we brought our daughter home, we just had a pack and play by the bed that we were going to be using, and it was very, very difficult to get in and out of the bed, especially like right after like postpartum. I had ended up getting a few stitches, so I was just very uncomfortable in general. So just like getting up and down was just not fun. So this time around, for sure going to get a bassinet that like goes right up to the side of the bed. I just think that's gonna make my life a million times easier with this baby, and especially postpartum, now that I know what to expect with my body. The next thing is I'm going to pump. So when I first had my daughter, they said don't pump at all, just have her regulate you, and I do plan on doing that. I just got to that point where she was regulating me so much that by the time I wanted to even consider pumping, I just didn't have anything really extra to give, as well as she didn't really like taking a bottle anyways. Anytime we did try and experiment with that, she was just not a fan. And I was with her all the time. I was lucky I got to stay home with her, so she could just nurse on me whenever she got hungry. So there were a few times where I wish I had like milk, you know, as an emergency or whatever, especially the biting stage. I would highly recommend having some milk on hand just for like that alone. I feel like would be worth it. So yes, I am going to let her regulate me, but I still plan on at least having some reserves just in case I'm out and about and she needs a bottle and like my husband's home and needs to like feed her. I just want to have it just in case, because you never know. The next thing is I'm going to put my health first. So what I mean by that is I know at 6 weeks usually you're allowed to start working out again and everything like that. I am personally probably not going to work out that soon after giving birth. I am a high-risk pregnancy, so my healing does take a lot longer than normal postpartum. But as soon as I am cleared and feel good and ready to like work out, I am going to make it a point to do that. When I was pregnant with my daughter, after I had her, I just did not see the need to really focus on that. I was super in shape before, so I just figured I'd bounce back. You know, like I just wouldn't have any issues getting in shape when I decided to make that a priority. And also we were traveling for a year, so I didn't want to like have any restrictions. I just wanted to enjoy the trip, eat whatever food I wanted to eat, and not stress about it. Another big reason why I didn't really focus on working out as much was I heard how it could sometimes mess with your supply, and that was like a huge fear of mine, that I wouldn't be able to nurse my daughter. And so that was it could be true, it could not be true, but I think I could have just like looked past that and worked out and it would have been fine. And another big thing too, now that I have 2 kids, or I'm going to be having 2 kids, I think it's important to set an example for them that being healthy and working out is a good thing. And I want to be able to keep up with my toddler, because she already runs around. It's gonna probably be even worse when she's 2. And yeah, I just want to make sure I'm putting my health first, and I just don't get to a point where it's a lot harder on my body when I decide to just get back into a healthy state. So this time around, my husband will be working. So he was working when my daughter was born for about 3 months, and then we took a year off to travel. So my daughter's entire first year was spent every single day with her dad and her mom. And so that's just not going to be the case this time around. He is going to be working, and so I'm curious to see how it's going to be with 2 under 2 by myself during the day. I'm sure I'm going to rock it, but it's just something that is just going to be different this time around. I'm super thankful though, because he is getting like 3 months off for paternity leave when we do have this baby. So I am looking forward to that time, and just to get in a routine and get acclimated to having 2 kids. The next one is I'm gonna invest in the right products and not buy the unnecessary. So what I mean by that is I felt like when I did my registry, I had no idea what a baby was gonna need, other than like what the internet was telling me and, you know, YouTube and stuff like that. And so with that, normally you kind of overbuy or buy things you don't necessarily need. And now that I've had a baby and I kind of have an idea of like what's worth investing in, and what you can get secondhand, or things that you might not even need to buy at all. So this time around, I am just not going to be splurging on everything before the baby. Luckily, we still have a lot left over from when we had our daughter, and we are having another girl. So a lot of that stuff we are having like hand-me-down for her. I just want to share like a little example of how this affected us. When my daughter was born, we were planning on just using a pack and play, kind of how I mentioned previously, and it just wasn't working for us. So we ended up going out and buying a DockATot at full price, and those things are expensive. They are an investment, and it's not that she hated it. She just did not like sleeping in it. She didn't like being laid down in it for very long. And it just ended up being something that was just not worth the price, but it was a splurge buy or an impulse buy because we were desperate. We just wanted her to sleep and not be attached to us all the time. So I just wanted to make it a point. If it is something that you're not sure if they're gonna like, I would highly recommend getting something secondhand, like Marketplace, buy, sell, trade page. Those are gonna be your best friend. And yeah, so I just highly recommend being strategic with your purchases. This one is probably the most important one that I'm going to be doing out of this entire list, and that is listening to my baby and not everyone else. So I know this is really hard when you're a new mom because you just want to listen to everyone else who's experienced it, and don't get me wrong, they probably have really valid, good advice, but your baby is so different than any other baby, and you just have to listen to what works for them and what's best for them. The biggest thing I learned from having my daughter was, you know, every baby's different. We found that she didn't like a lot of things that most babies do. She hated a pacifier, you know, she hated laying down, she hated being swaddled, like all of the normal like newborn things that they should like, she did not. And I thought, you know, what am I doing wrong? Is she okay? And of course I consulted my doctor. I talked to him, you know, everything was normal and fine. I just think it's really easy for moms to be hard on themselves when it comes to their baby because we have social media and it's just so easy to look and see what everyone else is doing. And when your baby's not doing that, you're just automatically thinking something's wrong. So I would just highly, highly recommend just listen to your baby. You know your baby better than anyone, and just go with your gut. Mom instincts are real, so just go with that. If you are concerned about anything, of course, talk to your doctor. So that is the list of things that I'm going to be doing different with baby number 2. So these are all just things that I would like to do. If they end up happening, that would be amazing. But again, every baby's different, like I just said, so we will just see. Whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, I just want to have a healthy baby, and that's all that matters to me. So again, my name is Courtney. I do all things motherhood, pregnancy, and lifestyle over on this channel. So if you like those types of videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and comment down below. I would love to meet you. Introduce yourself. Are you pregnant? Are you a mom? I would love to know. And make sure you are subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.